You ever wonder what's really going on in your head when you're feeling stressed, anxious, or just off? Or why one person seems to just sail through a tough time while for someone else it feels like their world is falling apart? Well, we're going to dive into the science of it because mental health isn't about willpower. It's a really complex story about your brain's chemistry, its wiring, and its hormones. So, is it really all just a matter of thinking positively? That old advice to just cheer up? For decades, that's what a lot of us were told. But you know what? Modern science has a way better and way more powerful answer. The truth isn't found in our character, it's found in our brain chemistry. And this is not some small niche issue. Not at all. It is a deeply, deeply human one. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of every 8 people on this planet is dealing with a mental health condition. That is over 1 billion people. So yeah, if you've ever struggled, you are so far from alone. Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea. This isn't about weakness, it's about brain science. And thanks to some pretty incredible modern technology, we can actually see the biological truth of what's happening inside our heads. It's wild. This right here is the absolute key. Mental health struggles are not a character flaw. They're not a sign that you're weak-willed or lazy. No way. They are the result of real, measurable biological changes in the brain. What was once totally invisible can now literally be seen on a brain scan. And this isn't some brand new idea either. It's the result of over a century of scientific detective work. You can see how it all unfolded, starting way back in the late 1800s, when we first started classifying these things as actual illnesses. Then, in the 30s, we defined stress as something biological we could measure. And then, bam, in the 60s, a guy named Aaron Beck proved our thoughts can literally change our brain's wiring. Science has been building this case for a long, long time. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to go inside the brain and meet the key players in this whole chemical story. Think of it like a cast of characters running the show in your head. So picture this. Your brain has 2 key managers who are kind of in a constant tug of war. On one side, you've got the prefrontal cortex. Let's call it the logical CEO. It handles all the planning, the rational thought, the smart decisions. On the other side is the amygdala. That's the emotional alarm system. It's all about fear, threats, and gut reactions. Now, in a healthy brain, the CEO is in charge. But when stress hits, that alarm system can totally hijack the whole operation. So how do these managers even communicate? Well, it's all through chemicals. Let's meet the cortine. You've got serotonin, that's the mood stabilizer, keeping things feeling balanced. Then there's dopamine, the reward and motivation chemical. It's what makes you go after things. Of course, there's cortisol, the famous stress hormone, getting you ready for fight or flight. And finally, GABA. GABA is like the brain's brake pedal, telling everything to just calm down. The balance of these chemicals, it determines pretty much everything. So let's use this to decode our struggles. What is actually physically happening inside the brain when we experience these conditions? This quote really gets to the heart of it. Chronic stress isn't just some unpleasant feeling that's all in your head. Nope. MRI scans show that being exposed to stress for a long time physically changes the structure and the wiring of your brain. It leaves a tangible physical mark. And check this out. It's one of the most significant changes we can see. All that cortisol from chronic stress can actually shrink the hippocampus, your brain's hub for memory and learning. We're talking by as much as 10 to 15%. So you know that brain fog feeling you get when you're super stressed or you just can't concentrate? It's not your imagination, it's your biology. And we can see these really distinct patterns for different conditions. With depression, we tend to see lower levels of that mood stabilizer serotonin and the motivation chemical dopamine, and less activity in the logical CEO, the prefrontal cortex. With anxiety, it's a bit different. The emotional alarm, the amygdala, is working overtime, and there aren't enough of the brain's calming brake pedals, the GABA, to slow things down. So how does our crazy modern world fit into all this? Let's take what we've learned and apply it to one of the biggest pressures in our lives today, social media. Social media platforms are literally engineered to tap right into your brain's reward system. It's a simple loop. You get a notification, a like, whatever, your brain releases a little hit of dopamine, and it feels good. But that feeling fades pretty fast, and that leaves you craving another hit. It's a cycle that creates that compulsive need to just keep checking, keep scrolling. And it's not just about dopamine, there's also the whole comparison effect. When we're constantly seeing these curated, perfect highlight reels of other people's lives, Studies show that can be linked to lower levels of serotonin. When our brain perceives that we're falling short, our mood-stabilizing chemistry can take a hit, and that can lead to feeling pretty inadequate and sad. Now, I know after all that science, things might sound a little bleak, but hang on, because this is the most important part of our story. This is the science of hope. Because the number one thing we've learned is that your brain has an absolutely incredible power to change. And that power has a name: neuroplasticity. This is the brain's amazing ability to reorganize itself, to form new connections, and to literally change its own wiring based on your experiences, your thoughts, and your actions. This means that those changes we talked about before, they are not permanent.
So, how do we use this neuroplasticity to our advantage? Well, science points to some really powerful tools. Things like therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, regular exercise, meditation, and even just getting consistent, good quality sleep, they've all been proven to help rewire the brain for the better. And of course, talking to a medical professional can be a huge part of the solution.
I really love this quote because it totally reframes what therapy actually is. It is not just talking about your feelings. Think of it like physical therapy for your brain. It's a structured process that actively helps you build new, healthier neural pathways. You are literally helping to rebuild parts of your brain. So, if there is only one thing you take away from all of this, please let it be this. If you are struggling, it is not your fault. It is your biology. But, and this is the most important part, that biology is not your destiny. Your brain is designed to change, and with the right tools and support, it absolutely can.